Our sites are operated to the highest safety standards, is the response from industry. If there is a problem, they argue, it's one of communication. And down at Grangetown's primary school, ICI's Norman Banning is trying to improve public relations with a lecture on noise pollution.
Put this pair on.
Both British Steel and ICI now recognise that reassuring statements are not enough. They point to their community initiatives, videos, leaflets on the environment, sponsorships and donations. Their scientists may be convinced that their operations pose no threat. Convincing local people is another matter.
Nobody's saying that anybody is perfect. I think in the past there perhaps has been a tendency for us to be a little bit inward-looking. We've been concentrating on making chemicals, which of course is what we're best at. Public attitudes are changing and are changing rapidly in recent months and years. And we're responding to those changing public attitudes by trying to be more open.
The GPs in Grangetown, though, they've had a meeting and they say you're not telling them enough. They don't have enough information about what comes out of your plant and therefore they can't satisfy the worries of their patients. What are you going to do about that?
Well, that's an area that I said to you before the interview that is not within my
no, but when you're talking to the local community, you obviously have to put their minds at rest, and they say, well, what's all that muck coming out of those chimneys? What do you say to them then?
Yeah, well, we do have a system for dealing with queries like that. If people ring up, we will send somebody out to talk to them, or we'll give them an answer over the phone.
There's now a problem, though, that makes the relationship between town and industry potentially explosive. People are losing confidence that new development will mean new jobs, rather than just new pollution. In a few days' time, building work will start just over there on the world's biggest gas-fired power station. And permission looks likely for a giant toxic waste incinerator, only a mile or two up the River Tees. Once both projects are built, they'll employ fewer than 100 people.
The people of Grangetown have got no say in the power station, have they? We haven't had a vote.
In the long
have we?
run, we'll suffer. But the lads in this area aren't getting the work. It's round about with swings, isn't it? It works out. You either have the works and jobs, or you don't. So you go from there.
You can't get rid of the pollution because it's come from the works. And if you do, shut the works down, there's no jobs in the area for all, like, up-and-coming young lads, you know what I mean?
The doctors round here are saying that most of the health problems are probably due to the poverty rather than the pollution. What do you think?
Not a child. I don't
Where's poverty?
No.
Where's poverty?
Where's
I'll show you poverty.
Fair enough. We haven't got much. We haven't got much. But our kids don't go hungry. They don't go without shoes.
Dead right.
They don't go without their clothes.
No, not
even babies born are born with asthma trouble now. And I have grandchildren myself that are born and are on ventilators now. And the thing is, what do?
Sometimes you can't get your breath. On the morning, first thing on the morning, you open your door. You can't get a breath.
Okay, so should we shut ICI down then? Is that price too high?
Of course it is, because if you shut ICI down, I mean, it's going to be out of work.
The dividing line between environment, health and jobs is obviously a very delicate balance and one which is very difficult to juggle with. But we do take a view on both sides and try and steer the best course possible.
Pat Dunlop and Suzanne Ablett have a fear which goes beyond the siting of a power station on their doorstep. They worry that the area around Grangetown could be turned into a sink for the industrial filth no one else wants.
Where the two cooling towers are,
yes.
They're ICI. That greeny building with the red cloud coming out and the
dirty smoke.
Yes, that's British Steel.
Yeah.
And just underneath there, that is Grangetown. And Grangetown's smack in the middle.
And they want to put more. And they want to put more.
Pat and Suzanne are pillars of the new Residents Association, and they've also joined environmental pressure groups campaigning against new development in the area. But the community newspaper they founded earlier this year is filled with comments from people who claim no one's listening. The front page reads, "We're only a dot on the map, but it's time to say stop, no more."
They spend millions of pounds on these big works, you know, and they say, oh, things are going to get better. They haven't got better. We've been soft soap for so long. Now people aren't afraid to come out and speak to them. It's not as though your father or your brother or your granddad works in the works, your livelihood doesn't come from there any longer. So why not complain? Why not stand up and say something about it now?
It is true that in the last few years we have reduced our workforce numbers, and I guess that has led to a diminishing of goodwill from the community towards ICI. But what we have to do to compete in the modern world is to ensure that our operations are as competitive as possible, and that new power station is very, very important to us.
Nevertheless, ICI have sensed that their relationship with the town could become unstable, and last May created a community affairs department to help improve things. The result? 6 months later, the first ever public meeting has been held between local people and the men from the factory they've lived with for almost half a century.
It was agreed that we were going to invite a doctor from one of the practices in Grangetown at the next meeting.
ICI accepted the meeting was long overdue and agreed to more. The residents admitted to feeling a sense of triumph.
I think it went very well. Why couldn't they have done this years ago?
It was so nice to see somebody actually admit, we've made a mistake. You know, for once in their life, somebody came straight out with it and said, you know, in the past, we've made a mistake. I just hope it's not going to fizzle out like some of these things that have been started, you know?
For 3 generations, people in Grangetown have had an unwritten contract with the factories on their doorsteps. Industry provided work, and in return, the town accepted any discomfort. But now some are claiming the contract has been broken. Jobs have gone, and a new awareness of the environment has arrived. In Grangetown, and perhaps soon in scores of other towns, they're trying to renegotiate the deal.